Hi guys, we're officially at the 1 week postpartum mark, and as cliche as it sounds, it's true. Time has completely flown by and I can't believe it's been a week already. So I wanted to update you on everything that's been happening and the progress that I've made in this week toward getting better and kind of feeling normal again. So I made a list so this video isn't like an hour long as it easily could be. So let's see if I can stick to it this time. Okay. I did mention in one of my hospital posts, I think it was like the 2-day postpartum post, that I was having some trouble managing the pain, and I'm happy to say that that's definitely gotten better. I'm still in quite a bit of pain, and honestly I'm not sure if it's just because I'm not used to feeling like that at all. I'm used to feeling good and strong and able to get around and do things on my own and not have trouble getting up and down and picking things up and just kind of doing what I want to do. So I do definitely have to stay on top of the pain medicine. If I don't, I really regret it. And like first thing in the morning when I wake up after having skipped it through the night, that really sucks too. So unfortunately I'm still depending on that to make it through the day without just kind of having a little mini breakdown over just not being able to function like I want to. But it is what it is. I mean, honestly, what do I expect after having such a major surgery like that? So next on the list, let's see. Oh, the bleeding is already a lot better. This was one thing that was really surprising to me because I hadn't heard anything about this. With my 2 other babies, I had vaginal deliveries and the bleeding is pretty heavy afterwards. So I had prepared this time for pretty much the same thing and had bought these like massive pads to wear in the postpartum period. But this time it's not nearly as heavy, and I was pretty surprised. In fact, I even had my husband, he was out one day running errands, and I had him stop and I was like, can you get me something a little less mattress-like, because these are huge and I don't need all that. Like now what I'm using is basically, it's just a little more than a panty liner pretty much. And I would say that the bleeding is equivalent to like a light to sometimes a medium period. So it's really not bad at all. That was a pleasant surprise because I expected it to be like my other ones. So that was cool. Oh, so everyone knows and everyone has heard about the dreaded first poop postpartum, right? Like I've heard some women say that they'd rather have the baby all over again than go through this and like have to deal with that first time poop. It's like supposed to be so awful and so painful, and I'd heard that it's kind of, I mean, it's going to be just as painful, but like a different, like it's a different set of problems and like a different set of like kind of pain after a C-section. And so I didn't know what to expect this time. I was like, oh my God, I've heard it's awful. So and I remember after my other 2 babies, like it was bad, but I mean, I thought this time was going to be worse, honestly, because of the incisions. But I was able to go poop. I know y'all wanted to know that. And it wasn't nearly as bad as I had worked myself up to thinking it would be. Like, it wasn't that bad, honestly. And I didn't take any kind of laxatives or anything like that. In the hospital, they gave me stool softeners, I think, like a handful of times. And then the day that I left, I had a cup of prune juice. And then once I got home, I didn't take any kind of laxative. I didn't take any kind of stool softener. I had 1 more cup of prune juice, I think, because my cousin told me warm it up and mix it with apple juice, and it's a lot better. So I tried that, and it actually was better. But other than that, I didn't do anything to like force this to happen. And it really wasn't that bad. I was so happy that it was over with, but honestly it felt more like gas pains, and it just wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. So that was good news. The swelling is still pretty bad. It's in my feet and ankles, like my feet, ankles, and a little bit in my legs, mostly where I'm seeing it. I didn't even swell up during the pregnancy. I think maybe like 2 or 3 times after I had been on my feet a lot that day, or just sitting down a lot, did I swell up, and it really wasn't even noticeable. Like, the only people that noticed it were me and my husband. That was it. Everyone else was like, you couldn't see it at all. So this actually, I think is from the IV. I think it's just from being on the IV for so long, because they give you, you know, they hydrate you that way, so you're getting fluids and you're getting medicine. You're getting all your medicine for a couple days through IV. So I think that's what it's from, and it's just taking a little while to work itself out. My feet have gotten pretty puffy, and my ankles have disappeared at several points. So, but I actually woke up this morning and my belly had shrunk significantly. Like, overnight, it was just whoop, like went back in. Even my husband noticed. He was like, "Whoa, it's not almost gone, but like you could just tell that it had shrunk quite a bit." And I'll show you guys at the end of this video what my belly looks like now. I am less tired and less foggy than I have been, although you probably can't tell because of these dark circles under my eyes. But I am getting a little more sleep during the night, and mostly like in the late morning hours is when she takes her longest naps. So since she's feeding a lot better, and she's not getting on a schedule, but I'm kind of learning her rhythm, I'm able to sleep a lot better. And so that's been really nice. It keeps my head clear and keeps my emotions in check, and it just, I mean, sleep is magic, y'all. Like, it just helps a lot when you start getting more sleep. I have had chills big time. Okay, so I know it's the hormones, and when it hits me, it's like, it's just like a hormone rush, basically. Suddenly out of nowhere, I'll just feel like my bones are cold, like, and I'll start shivering and shaking, and my teeth will chatter, and I'm just so cold, and it takes over, and it's almost the kind that hurts. Have you ever been so cold that it hurts? That's what it feels like. And I'll feel like that for anywhere from, you know, like a few seconds to a couple minutes, and I'll have to get a jacket and bundle up and like just deal with it. And then the next minute I'm hot and sweating, and I can't cool off fast enough. So that drastic swing like that, it's obviously hormones. So my milk is starting to regulate. Starting being the operative word here. So in the beginning, I typically overproduce. I'm like an overproducer in the milk department, which is awesome. You know, I know that that's a huge issue for a lot of women, so please don't think that I'm complaining at all. I love it, and I tend to pump as much as I can and store it up, because my supply tends to drop, and not just drop like it starts to regulate, but drop, and then I start to worry that the baby is getting enough. So it is starting to regulate, but because I have to work on it in the beginning to get to a point where I'm not just like engorged all the time, which is pretty typical. But so what I have to do is I have to nurse on one side for one feeding and let the baby finish completely on that side, you know, burp in between, but then put her right back on the same breast, and then the next time she eats, go to the other one. And that kind of helps your body regulate your milk supply. And that's finally starting to happen, to where I'm not just huge and uncomfortable all the time. Because if you've nursed a baby before, then you know it's really painful, and it just feels like your skin is gonna break. So it is starting to regulate. That's really nice. I pump one time in the mornings, like in the late mornings, when usually between like 10 and 11. When she's eaten her last like morning meal and she's ready to go down for another nap and all that. I'm still very full from the night before, so I'll pump and store whatever I've got from that pump session, and then after that I typically don't pump anymore throughout the day because I want to make sure that I've got plenty for her to have. So speaking of milk regulation and like nursing the baby and all of that, I do have a really good tip that has helped me. I cannot remember where I heard this or read this or if a friend told me about it, but it has been a huge lifesaver for me, so I wanted to share it with y'all. If you are like me and you're trying to regulate, or this is just how you nurse your babies and you nurse on one side then the other, it can be a real problem to remember which side is next. So especially if you're sleeping in between. So you get a hairband and you put it on the wrist of the side that's next. So I know that when she wakes up from her nap and she's ready to eat, I'm going to feed her on my right side, because the last time I fed her was on my left side, because I have my hairband on my right wrist. And then while she's eating, while I'm nursing her, I'll switch it to my other wrist so I know that this side is done and this side is next. Hopefully that helps somebody, because it has seriously like saved my butt. More hormone related stuff. My hips are loose and wobbly. And I know it's from, what's the hormone? Relaxin? I think it's relaxin. The one that makes your joints all jelly and jiggly getting ready for delivery. And when I walk, like it feels like my hip joints are just gonna like let go of my legs at any moment. It's kind of funny feeling. The cramps they're not as bad while I'm nursing her. When you're nursing your baby, it signals your body to release a hormone that makes your uterus start contracting so that it can go back down to normal, and that typically happens for several weeks after you have the baby, because it takes quite a while for your uterus to go from the size of a basketball back down to its normal size. So in the beginning, those cramps are very strong, and you really feel them, especially the more kids you have. It gets more intense with each baby that you have. So her being my third one, they were very strong, especially right in the beginning. So they have gotten better. I can definitely still feel them, and they're definitely still bothersome, especially if I haven't taken my medicine yet, the pain medicine. But they're not nearly as bad. It's not debilitating to the point where, like it was, that like don't talk to me when I'm nursing her. Like, don't talk to me. Don't expect me to interact with anybody. Like, I just need to get through this. Now they're just bothersome, and it's like, this sucks. But it's definitely better, and it'll continue getting better. So. My incision, it still looks really good. It's not red, it's not inflamed, nothing like that. I did have a bottle of Hibiclens left over from when my son had to go into the hospital for a dental procedure. I had a bottle of that left, so I did end up bringing it to the hospital with me. If you don't know what Hibiclens is, it's basically a hospital grade antimicrobial, antibacterial soap. It's like high grade stuff that you would use in the hospital to make sure that you're clean and free of any kind of nasty stuff. So I had that left over from his procedure, so I brought it to the hospital with me, and when they let me shower, I cleaned my incision site with the Hibiclens. And so every time I've showered since then, since coming home, that's what I've been using to clean the incision site. And I don't let the water from the shower, obviously I can't take baths yet, but when I'm in the shower, I don't let the shower directly hit it. What I do is I just kind of like let it run down the front of my body, and then I put the Hibiclens soap. It's really, really runny. I'll try and show you guys the bottle, and I'll link it below. I just put the soap in my hand and just kind of touch it onto the incision site. I don't rub it, I don't scrub it, nothing like that. I just kind of like let it sit on there and then just gently just gently wash it like that, and then same thing to rinse, just let the soap run over me. I mean, let the water run down the front of my body to clean it. So that's been helping. It at least gives me peace of mind that I know that like it's really getting clean and it's staying clean, and then I don't put anything on until the steri strips are completely dry and the incision site is dry. So I don't put on underwear, I don't put on pants or anything like that until it's gotten a chance to dry out. So that's looking good. And so I'm still wearing the binder that they gave me in the hospital. When you're in the hospital and you get a C-section, at least my hospital anyway, I don't know if this is standard procedure for most hospitals now, but they gave me a binder. I'll go ahead and show you. So this is the binder, and it comes all the way down to here. And so it covers the incision site, which is right about there somewhere. And the inside of it is really soft. So this is kind of just hugging and holding everything in so that it's not getting moved around as much. And then it keeps everything off of it. So when I put my pants on, put underwear on or whatever, like there's nothing bumping right up against it. And this is just kind of holding me tight like that. So I'm still wearing it because it's definitely more comfortable with it on than without it. At first I'll take it off, I'm like, oh, it's okay. But then after a few minutes, it starts to ache, and I just put it back on because it's more comfortable. But I have been moving around a lot. I'm not really lounging and keeping my feet up probably as much as I should, honestly. But for me, it just feels better to be active and, you know, just, I mean, I'm not like mopping and sweeping and cleaning house or anything like that, but just up and about, you know, doing things around the house. Honestly, I don't have a whole lot of choice because I do have 2 other kids, so it's not like I could even if I wanted to. But for me, it just feels better to be up and around, and I think that it's really recommended to do that as much as you feel like you can. Obviously, don't push it, and make sure that your doctor is okay with it. But it does help everything just kind of get back to normal. It's going to help my swelling go down. It's going to help me continue to be able to go to the bathroom and not be in pain the whole time. It's nice to have some normalcy. So as far as my mood goes, I feel happy. I feel content. I'm not like having crazy mood swings where like I'm giddy one moment and then just really sad the next. So I'm thankful for that. I'm not having any of that, you know, hopefully won't, but it's pretty normal after having a baby. But yeah, I'm really just even keel and just very content. And I think the feeling that I've been feeling the most lately is contentment and gratitude. I'm still so overwhelmed to be a family of 5 now and to be a mom of 3 amazing kids. Like I look around like I just can't believe this is my life now. I'm so happy with it, and honestly never thought I would be. Like I never saw myself as a stay-at-home mom. I never saw myself as a mother of 3. I just didn't see that as something that I wanted or would ever do. And now that that's my reality, I can't get over how awesome it is. I'm so happy with that. So I'm just kind of staying like at that level consistently, which is great. I don't feel out of control in any way so far. I will definitely continue to keep an eye on that and like make sure that I know exactly what's going on in the mental and emotional department, because that's such an important part of your recovery. So, and I tend to know my warning signs when I start to go down that path of depression or blues or anxiety. So I kind of know what that looks like for me, and I'll just continue to watch out for that because I'll want to address it as soon as possible. So that pretty much does it for my 1 week postpartum update. I hope the information that I had for you was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section and I'll be happy to answer them or find answers for you if I can. So now I'll go ahead and show you what my belly looks like at 1 week postpartum. Okay, so I'm trying to adjust here because I don't want to flash y'all or show my awesome granny panties off to YouTube world, but you can see that obviously I still look kind of pregnant, but it's gone down quite a bit from where it was. Yeah, quite a bit. So I think a lot of it was just still water weight, really, and that my uterus has started to shrink down enough to where everything else can kind of move back in place. And my incision is just below this waistband right here. I won't show you all that because it's really, really low. I had seen them before, but you know, I almost forgot how low they do it. So really, it's not even a big deal to have a scar right there, because I mean, what are you going to do that's going to show it other than when you're with your husband? So there's that. It's really sore. But I'll go ahead and start doing some of my pelvic floor exercises. I haven't a whole lot yet, just because everything has just been so sore. It doesn't feel right to do it. But at this point, I think I'll go ahead and start, because it's at the point where doing things like that don't bother my incision area as much. So I can do some of the floor exercises, and if you'd like, I can show you how I do those in another video. It's basically just getting everything back and working again, because right now it's still kind of in shock from everything that it's been through. So I'll go ahead and start doing those and getting it back to where it's working again. And you can see my stretch marks from my first pregnancy. They're pretty bright white. They're not even pink, so I don't think I added to them at all. In fact, I didn't really get any stretch marks with this pregnancy. Or my second. So all my stretch marks are from my first pregnancy. And I just kind of filled them out in my last two pregnancies. So there's that. The belly in all its glory. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. I welcome feedback. I love hearing from you guys and hearing about your experiences and any questions that you have, or things that maybe that I missed and that you dealt with. Please leave a comment and let everybody know. So I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there that experienced the same thing. I may have too, and I just forgot to mention it. So leave a comment, leave some feedback. Please be sure to subscribe to my vlog if you haven't already. And until next time, take care. Thanks for watching. Wanted to show you guys real quick. This is the Hiba Cleanse I was telling you about. The antiseptic, antimicrobial skin cleanser. You can find it like any kind of pharmacy. I found mine at Walgreens. It's a little pricey, but I mean, this has lasted us a really long time. You know, we're not going to use it all that often, but for sure, like, I think this is like still a third full, and we've used it a whole bunch of times. It's kind of just good to have around. Do check with your doctor first and make sure that they're cool with it. So I wanted to show you this. I've used this forever and ever and ever. I really like it. I don't use it for for my anxiety or anything. I use it to stay regular, and it has helped a lot. And then when I got pregnant with my second baby, my doctor okayed it during pregnancy, so I used this to steer clear of any kind of constipation or getting backed up at all, because that can be a huge issue in pregnancy too. So my doctor okayed this for pregnancy, and I am going to go ahead and start drinking it again. It's a powder. It comes in a powder, and you mix it in warm water. I am going to start drinking a cup of this a day now that I've already had the baby, to help me stay regular since I'm on the pain medicine and still recovering from the C-section. I don't want to get backed up right now, so I'm going to go ahead and start drinking this again. So that's what I recommend.